What is up, Bray Gang? Welcome back to another amazing reaction video. And today we're going to be covering a brief history of Germany before there was a Germany. Can you guys imagine that? Life before Germany? I know a lot of you guys that are discovering this channel for the first time are probably very curious as to why most of my content on my channel is, well, European based. Well, that's because most of my subscribers, according to my statistics, are from Germany. So I've found myself learning a lot about the culture, the language, and it's just been a crazy loophole for the last 2 years. So if you guys are here for the journey, go ahead and subscribe. We're gonna go ahead and dive nose deep in this thing and see exactly what we're working with, guys. And you guys already know what I like to say. Los Gets. Woo! Ooh, wow, why is it delayed? Hold on, I'm gonna refresh this.
Hey folks.
Ooh, okay, ready, steady. Why is my computer hot? Oh, it is hot. I might need to clean up the fans. Let's go.
Hey folks. Haven't done that in a while. Oh my. Germany is one of the most powerful economies in the world.
Amen. That's true. Y'all did a complete 180, my guy. Don't know how y'all pulled it off, but that's good.
Time and time again, Germany seems to serve as a world leader and the glue holding together the European Union. Now, I imagine when I mention I'm doing a history of Germany, you're thinking of that time.
Oh, yeah, everybody like, well, we kind of know what happened during World War II. Yeah, this is before Germany was Germany, though, so it's not even about that.
But you're in luck. This video is part one of a series, and here we'll be talking about ancient Germanic tribes, Charlemagne, and the Holy Roman Empire.
Well, that's good, because we did cover that in our previous video where we reacted to a terrifying look on old Germany. I had no idea that Vikings were like connected with Germans and stuff like that. I didn't know that there were like, Germans had like, or Vikings were essentially the origin of some Germans, I guess, or I guess Vikings were just one of the many groups, but I had no idea. That's pretty insane.
This is Germany before Germany.
Step back history. Let's go. Subscribe to this guy,
I'm
man.
Tristan, and this is Step Back. Subscribe to the bell notification to get history every week. So to get started, we really have to go back to a long time ago, like hundreds of thousands of years ago. Yikes. The earliest sign that there were humans in Germany actually goes to a 1907 discovery that shows that there were at least human or human-like creatures living in Germany about 600,000 years ago. And
600,000 years ago. Let that sink in really quick. 600,000 years ago. That's a long time, man.
About half that time ago, about 300,000 years.
By the way, you are going to hear a lot of audio clipping in this video. For some reason, my recording software is completely screwed. So any YouTube video from this point going forward is going to sound really messed up until I get to the bottom of whatever this is. I don't know why it clips so much, guys. I apologize, but it is what it is at this point. I'm going to try to see if I can use a different recording software to record these reactions, but for right now, this is what we're working with.
There were some of the oldest weapons ever found on Earth also found in Germany. There's a lot of evidence that non-human hominids lived in Germany, such as the Neanderthals. Ooh. This is all about maybe 40,000 years ago. You might also remember that some of the oldest pieces of human art, like the Venus of Willendorf, are actually from Germany. They're some of the oldest things ever. They're like these statues of these very curvy, busty women that were...
Ooh, you know what I'm saying? We like cars. We like cars. Let's go.
Thought to be used as either some sort of primitive form of stone pornography or as like fertility statues. People are still trying to figure this one out. So this is like a scale of hundreds of thousands of years. It's like a scant, comprehensible amount of time.
Jesus Christ, man. That's a bit weird. A bit weird, isn't it?
People, however, were not the ancestors of the first Germans. Actually, the first German people are suspected to have come from Scandinavia, probably about 2,500 years ago. Over the next 500 years, the people who came from Scandinavia settled in the region that would become Germany and sort of took it over. We don't actually know that much about Germans in this period, except that they were groups of tribes that fought regularly against the Romans in the south.
Yeah, Romans and Germans had big beef, bro. And since Romans were the dominating force at the time, you know what I mean? Like, Romans were writing the history for everything. So a lot of what we hear in history might be a bit skewed because Romans were not playing no games, bro. We're like, we're going to write your history so you look bogus as hell. Like, that's at least what people were telling me in the comments of my last video. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out. I'm not sure if I'll be motivated enough to link that in the description if you guys want to check it out, but there's a previous video I reacted to where I talked about it, and there's a lot of interesting comments actually, if you guys want to, like I said, have a look-see-ducksy.
So a lot of our evidence about what life was like for the Germans comes a lot from the writings of their sworn enemies, which is always a red light in history books.
True.
Romans were fighting and conquering German tribes throughout the 1st century CE, so right around the time when the CE and BCE are meeting each other. And what this did is it caused a cultural blending to occur between German culture coming from Scandinavia and Roman culture coming up from the south. Interesting.
So are you saying like modern Germans are pretty much Romans, right? Like y'all are pretty much like Roman, and you guys have like Roman ancestors and stuff like that? Because like, honestly, is there anybody now that we can call like Roman? Like, oh, this person is Roman, you know, pure Roman. Is that even a thing now? Do Romans exist? That's a serious question. I have no idea.
Being said, a lot of Germany remained firmly outside of Roman territory. A lot of the German tribes that weren't flat out conquered and kind of turned into these more urban, more organized centers started to organize around the frontiers of Roman territory because there was a lot of value to be made either trading with the Romanized Germans or by raiding into Roman territory and sacking it and taking things and going back to their homes.
Yeah, well, that's how they got down, man. We can't. I mean, that's just what the times were by the day. I mean, it's honestly, you know, get or get got. That's what it was. Like, get or get got. And they were all about getting it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
And one of the things about Germany that's important for understanding it today is that the Romans, when they took parts of Germany, they split it up into these administrative regions that are actually a lot of the regions of modern-day Germany and Austria. As we all know, though, the Roman Empire had an expiry date, and it began to crack and crumble. And you probably heard many, many times that barbarians sacked Rome.
Well, I'm not sure if that's true. I just know in general, Rome was falling, bro. Rome was falling, but I feel like it was for a collective of a lot of reasons. I don't know if there was one definite reason why Rome collapsed. I feel like there was a lot of weird political stuff happening internally with Rome, and then it wound up imploding from the inside, obviously. I can't remember how Rome fell, but Rome fell hard. It was like it still is probably the biggest L ever taken in history, you know, because Rome was a dominating force and then just got completely dunked on. I think they dunked on themselves low-key, but we'll find out.
Most often they're referring to the Germans when they're referring to the, quote, barbarians.
True.
So
that's kind of messed up, you know? Like, they call them like barbarians. I wonder if Germans called themselves barbarians back in the day, or like if they went by something else. Because it's like Rome's like, they're barbarians. Or like, you know, Germans like, we're barbarians. Like, I don't know if it was meant to be an insult or if that was what they called each other, you know?
The Roman Empire began to crumble at the fringes. German tribes began to move into those areas.
Yeah.
Around the same time, there was also a spread of Christianity into Germany. So a religion that's actually not dissimilar from the pagan Norse religion to a new religion, you know, Christianity, Catholicism, essentially.
I wonder how that came to be. Well, Romans were very Christian. I'm pretty sure they were pretty freaking Christian.
The thing that occurred in this time period was the Huns. They were a Central Asian group of nomads led by a general, you probably know him as Attila the Hun, moved into what is modern-day Germany, and also settled and ruled over Germany for several centuries.
Several centuries? Attila the Hun he posted up in Germany, bro? So Germany got Asian roots too. Oh, y'all are melting pot. So Germany's pretty much like little America, basically. You know what I mean? Like, as far as the multicultural background goes, I thought y'all literally just had one race. I mean, not now, but, back in the day. But I guess there was a lot of migration and stuff like that. People, multiple groups of people finding Germany as a place to just settle down and stuff like that. So it makes sense. I guess it makes sense, I'm learning new stuff every day, man. And I really appreciate you guys sending me these suggestions. Absolutely amazing. Once again, go ahead and subscribe to this guy. His name is Step Back. Go ahead and follow Step Back, man. Subscribe to that dude.
Probably have heard of the Huns, and you might have also heard that during World War I, the Germans were referred to as the Huns, sort of bringing this conqueror mythology along with it. That being said, by the 5th century, the influence of the Huns started to wane, and the German tribes that had been Romanized, that had been Hunned, had been living in the shadow of this crumbling Roman Empire, started to settle into early duchies and started to migrate into more Roman territory as it fell.
So I have a question. I've always asked this question, and I have never gotten a clear answer. And I know he brought up duchies, right? Dutch in general. Why do you guys say you guys speak Deutsch? And it's also referred to as German too. So it's like, oh, are you German? Because German and Deutsch are two totally different things, right? They're the same thing, but they're two totally different words. So did Americans come up with the word German? Or did you guys refer to yourselves as German and Deutsche? It's just weird because I'm like, what the freak? I thought people spoke Deutsch and I think Dutch people spoke Deutsch, It makes sense. Dutch, Deutsch, But then German people speak German. But then it's Deutsche spricht Deutsch. Makes sense too. It's just weird. Where did Deutsch come from? Where did that word originate from? So I know it's Deutschland, right? But then it's also Germany. So who gave Germany the name Germany? Is it supposed to be ultimately Deutschland or ultimately Germany? Because the world knows it as Germany, but Germany knows it as Deutschland. So I'm confused. We just went down a little rabbit hole there, but let me know what you think in the comments down below, man. I'm very confused about that. It makes a lot of sense, and I've had a lot of friends ask the same thing, Deutschland and Germany, why?
Now, the period after this is typically called the Dark Ages, but it's far from descriptive. It's not a time when there was massive declines. There was actually a lot going on in Germany. Germany was organizing and starting to coalesce into larger units.
Oh.
So in this period, the tribes in Germany fought with each other, lived with each other, made deals, and traded until they were conquered by an empire from France called the Franks.
Wow.
Which was a sort of...
What is this? Is this a point in time where France actually did something? I thought they were passive this entire time. France is known for surrendering on sight, bro. You can look at them, they're like, okay, I quit. France was actually aggressive back in the day, man. That's a big old plot twist. Okay, France. All right, France. I guess you did have kind of a backbone back in the day.
Confederacy, which is when several tribes band together as tributaries to a single powerful tribe. Think of it like the Aztec Empire. The Aztecs had a lot of neighboring city-states that acted as tributaries towards Tenochtitlan, which was the center of the Aztecs themselves. And this was pretty similar to how it worked in Germany. The Germans became a tributary force towards the Frankish rulers in France. And because of this loose affiliation, there was not a ton of work that needed to be done in order to maintain and hold the empire together. And at this time, the region was much more sparsely populated than it is today, so the Frankish Empire actually got really, really big. And during that time, there was also all sorts of various invasions that expanded the rulership of the Frankish Empire into more and more of Germany over what we'd be calling the Dark Ages.
It's kind of crazy to see like how influential, I guess raids were, people conquering and raiding villages and stuff like that and kind of spreading their beliefs and ideals throughout a country at different periods of time. There's different groups that have done that. It's just interesting to see the impact that it had on the history of places like Germany as a whole, because it makes you wonder, what would the culture be like now if a lot of that never happened, because it all plays into a bigger picture. It's pretty crazy.
The most important one we have to point out, though, is that in the year 751, a leader of the Franks called Pippin III took the title of king, which comes from the Christian Roman tradition. And so as king...
Not to be confused with Scottie Pippen. Okay, not to be confused with Scottie Pippen.
Finally became the first of the Frankish leaders to become the representative of the church in Rome. A descendant of his is probably the more famous one that you remember, who was in Germany called Charles the Great, but you might know him more as Charlemagne. And under the rulership of Charlemagne, the Frankish Empire grew into a even larger power in Europe.
Damn. I can kind of hear the video clipping a little bit in my headphones. Oh, so it's not my software. It's probably is it my headphones, bro? Hold on. I'm about to figure this out. It's low key. It could be my headphones that's messed up a little bit. Interesting.
Conquered large parts of modern Germany and even invaded down into what it was called Lombardy, but is basically today northern Italy.
Oh, I have a friend named Lombardo. That's kind of crazy.
For his death, we have what historians call the Carolingian Empire. And on Christmas of 800 CE, the Pope actually crowned Charlemagne the Emperor of Rome.
What? Charlemagne, man. Charlemagne. I honestly didn't even know who Charlemagne was prior to this video, so that's another little thing your boy just learned about right meow. Charlemagne. God dang Charlemagne.
Which sparked the birth of a state that would exist in one form or another all the way until the 19th century when Napoleon would crumble it.
Jesus.
Let's talk a little bit about that state. So Charlemagne's long-reaching borders would only last for a few generations. By the time the rulers were Charlemagne's grandkids, the empire had been split into 3 different countries. One would roughly be France, one would roughly be northern Italy, and one would be modern-day Germany.
Damn. I'm guessing the one on the bottom, it was probably modern-day Germany, like the piece right here, the little tail piece, I like to say. I'm pretty sure that's Bavaria, isn't it? Isn't that Bavaria? That's got to be Bavaria, isn't it? No, it's not, because Bavaria is not close to any bodies of water, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm dumb.
You probably know these as West Francia, East Francia, and Lombardy. And the first leader to break off into a German state would be the leader named King Henry the Fowler. But what's more important is his son, Otto I, who was crowned by the Pope the title of Holy Roman Emperor.
Holy Roman Emperor. That's a mouthful. Holy Roman Emperor. At what age? Is he like King Tutankhamun's, age or whatever? Is he 9 years old or some shit?
Which is a title that would be held in Germany for nearly 1,000 years.
Damn.
And he had a lot of power in the Roman Church. He solidified under his own rule. Even for a while, the Holy Roman Emperor had a lot of influence over who would be elected Pope. And then around the 11th century, Europe began to get involved in the Crusades, which was a large campaign to invade Muslim territory in the Middle East. And the Holy Roman Empire played more than its part in that invasion. There are several famous Crusader Knight orders that come from the Holy Roman Empire, like the Teutonic Knights, for example. They were also part of a Holy Roman Empire expansion east, which started to displace and move Slavic peoples out of regions that would be modern-day Eastern Germany. There was also an interesting group called the Hanseatic League, which was...
The Hanseatic League? How many groups were there occupying... It seemed like Germany was just like a one-stop shop for a lot of people. Hella people was sliding through Germany like it was a sock, my guy. That's crazy.
Series of powerful trading cities in northern Germany that more or less controlled a lot of the trade in the Baltic Sea.
That makes a lot of sense. I forgot Germany does have a lot of valuable assets, so makes sense a lot of people would try to go and take over, populate, and monetize the resources in Germany. Deutschland. Absolutely insane, man.
Holy Roman Empire was not exactly a unified, cohesive unit. The Holy Roman Empire always suffered from civil wars and at once even went to war with the papacy.
I'm pretty sure that's how they collapsed. Because I did hear that Rome had a lot of its own problems. The Holy Roman Empire, it pretty much crumbled from the inside. And I'm like, dang, man. Dang. That's wild, bro. It's wild. And I feel like history has a funny way of repeating itself. I just hope that, people can see the signs before it happened,
Over this series of internal strifes and conflicts, the central core, the power of the Holy Roman Emperor himself, began to decline, and more power began to go to regional princes and powerful clergy members.
Damn.
By the end of this period, the emperor was an elected position, which was chosen from a body of powerful leaders called electors, which was a high honor in the nobility of the Holy Roman Empire. Only a handful would be able to choose who would become emperor.
Well, makes sense. I mean, at least you have like a kind of voting process that can be vetted by some reliable people, so it doesn't seem like a scammy scam. I could probably rock with that.
Some Holy Roman emperors would try to centralize this, but it never really worked out in the long term. And then things started to change when the 14th century rolled around and the Black Death ravaged Europe. It's a massive pandemic that wiped...
Yeah, that was the OG pandemic, bro. That was the OG pandemic. That was the pandemic that put everybody out, my guy. And now we got pandemic 2.0, man. Like, woo! It's been putting people out, about, and everything. Like, make sure y'all get, your little vaccine, because our pandemic now is no joke, my guy.
Between a third and some estimates say over half of the European population.
Jesus.
Germany, of course, was no exception. Some say it was even one of the hardest hit countries by the Black Death.
Jesus.
And because of it, there was a series of wars and major religious upheavals that happened all across Europe. At one point, there was even a time where 5 people claimed at the same time that they were all pope. And in this chaos in the Holy Roman Empire, one family based out of modern-day Austria in the southeast, called the Habsburgs, would start to become more prominent in the eternal politics of the Holy Roman Empire, and eventually would become emperor, and with only a few years of exception, were pretty much the rulers of the Holy Roman Empire all the way until it collapsed.
What the fuck? That's insane. That is fucking crazy, dude. What the fuck? It's like an information overload over here, man. Oh my God. So basically, if we go back to what he said here, he made a really good, interesting, I'm gonna go see if you can repeat it again.
Series of war, chaos in the Holy Roman Empire, one family based out of modern-day Austria in the southeast, called the Habsburgs, would start to become more prominent in the eternal
Habsburgs, they definitely gained some influence later on.
Politics of the Holy Roman Empire, and eventually would become emperor, and with only a few years of exception, were pretty much the rulers of the Holy Roman Empire all the way until it collapsed. So from this point onwards, Austria was going to be the seat of imperial authority in Germany. Now, as we get to the Renaissance, the early modern period, in the 16th century, the Holy Roman Empire would go through another major upheaval. Martin Luther, the founder of the Protestant Church, was from Germany.
What the fuck? Wait, hold on. So I'm confused. Was the primary Christian aspect of, like, religion and stuff in Germany, was that like Protestant Christian in Germany or Catholic Christian? Because I feel like Catholic is mad popular. I'm just not sure what the origins are. Pretty sure, well, I wasn't say all of Balkans is pretty much Catholic, but that's not true. It's Orthodox over there. But Protestant. So I don't know the difference between Catholic, Protestant, and Orthodox. Don't know the difference. I just know everybody go to church, read the Bible, go crazy. But Protestant, Catholic, and what's the third one? I forgot, man. My brain's fried. I literally, it's like almost 1 a.m, man. Your boy is tired. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not sure if y'all caught me slipping a couple times in this video. I was like, oh yeah. No, it's all good though. This is very, very, very informative, very entertaining. Very entertaining.
And all of the stuff in the Protestant Reformation happened primarily in Germany. the church was split into what would be called the Protestant Reformation, which was a bloody fight between Catholics and Protestants that would fight for over 100 years, and Germany was smack in the middle of it, almost evenly split between Catholic princes and Protestant princes.
Jesus.
Germany was in a state of civil war, probably mounting in the biggest of these conflicts, which was called the 30 Years' War, where approximately 40% of Germans died. Now, in this...
What the fuck? Really? That's kind of crazy, man. What the heck? That's insane. I didn't... Well, you said 40%? Did you say 40%?
And Protestant princes, Germany was in a state of civil war, probably mounting in the biggest of these conflicts, which was called the 30 Years' War, where approximately 40% of Germans died. Now, in this case...
He said the 40 Years' War? Go back. What?
Which was called the 30 Years' War.
30 Years' War. Y'all were warring for 30 years, bro? That's tiring. What the fuck? That's so tiring, yo.
Where approximately 40% of Germans died. Now, in this chaos, just like when the Austrians came to preeminence in the previous period of chaos, there was a new group, sort of in that region where the Slavics were displaced, a new kingdom that was highly authoritarian, centralized, and militaristic, called the Prussians, began to become
Prussians, bro. Hell yeah, dude. Fake Russians. Let's go. Okay.
And more prominent. So after the 30 Years' War, they became another major power and would be the seed of what would later become the German Empire, which is something that's going to be talked about with Emperor Tigerstar. Also in this period, the Holy Roman Empire got into a ton of other conflicts. They fought the Turks, they fought the French. One time they even invaded Poland for some reason. But their time was limited. In the late 18th century, the French had a massive liberal revolution. You might know it as the French Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
And out of that revolution came a powerful new centralized leader in Paris named Napoleon Bonaparte. You might have heard of him. And the French used...
No, I've never heard of him before. Seems eccentric, though.
Revolutionary zeal to invade countries to liberate and modernize them. And Germany was no exception. Large parts of the Holy Roman Empire fell to Napoleon, and in them he set up these puppet kingdoms that banded together under a rough coalition called the Coalition of the Rhine. These countries would abandon feudalism and had major new liberal reforms imposed upon them. The remaining parts of the Holy Roman Empire were part of the major coalition of powers that was designed to stop France's expansion.
What the fuck, bro? This is information overload. That's a lot to process, man. Holy sh... Y'all was getting busy back in the day. That's all I gotta say. Y'all was getting busy, bro. Busy. And like I said, it's a shock that all this happened, and we're here now. I mean, like, you guys did, like I said, a complete 180 from, like, you know, the most recent, like, you know, memorable thing people can think of that was super messed up from Germany. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Maybe because conquering their land and beheading their princess isn't exactly the best way to make friends with...
Oh, no, we do not do that. No decapitation. No. We like to keep our heads on our shoulders.
Holy Roman Empire. And it was in 1806 when Napoleon had conquered enough of Germany that he declared the Holy Roman Empire to be dead, discarding it as an anachronism of a previous age.
Wow.
Prussia, the nascent empire in the making, actually tried to stay out of the war, and they managed to do so until the 1812 attempted invasion of Russia that Napoleon tried to do, and many will agree was one of the most epic disasters in military history. It was so bad that those puppet German kingdoms that he set up under the Coalition of the Rhine actually turned on Napoleon, and by the time the Napoleonic era was over, by the time that Napoleon was sitting on an island in the South Atlantic, by the time he was dead...
What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? Napoleon was getting it in. Go back.
That those puppet German kingdoms that he set up under the Coalition of the Rhine actually turned on Napoleon, and by the time the Napoleonic era was over, by the time that Napoleon was sitting on an island in the South Atlantic, by the time he was dead, there was basically no Holy Roman Empire left. All centralized, organized...
Yeah, I still don't understand how the Roman Empire fell. I mean, he kind of touched on it. He basically said there was some internal conflict, but I would like to know. I need to dive into that next. See what happened to the Roman Empire, because it's like, what the freak happened to the Roman Empire, bro? I'm curious. You got my attention. Okay, I'm like, wait.
Nation was gone. However, there were powerful players. There was Austria. There was Prussia. and the treaty that came after the Napoleonic period, Prussia gained a lot of territory and became one of the most powerful countries in Europe. It was
What did it become? I guess so Prussia is a place. Prussia is literally a place. I've heard of Prussian people, but is Prussia a thing? So y'all got Prussia, Russia, and Belarusia. That's weird, bro.
poised to run over and take over all of these small German kingdoms. And this is where Emperor Tigerstar will pick up the story in part 2. After his video, you can go to the alternate history hub for the history of modern Germany, including, yes, the World Wars. Trust me, this is but the fastest of overviews.
Ooh.
German history is huge, and because it's European history, there's like 100 times more books written about it than other places.
True. I didn't even realize there was so much to unpack with Germany's history, man. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Once again, sorry about by the way, guys, for being so tired. I don't know why. I was very awake in the beginning, and then as the video played through and stuff, I was like, oh my God, what the heck going on? But definitely learned a lot, man. A lot of conquering that happened back in the day. Tribes taking over other tribes. French getting involved. Poland getting involved. Like, wait, what is this? Like, Orthodox Christians and shit, and Catholic Christian. What? A lot of hot mess, man. But at the same time, it's interesting diving into the roots of Germany and stuff. See, like looking at history and like really looking at where everybody came from and how that has had an impact on the architecture, on the culture, on a lot of things, and there's certain things that just kind of like, carry over that are timeless. But I feel like the biggest thing, obviously, that I appreciated from this video was just how everything was structured, how everything was organized, and how he unpacked everything very neatly. So it was very good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Go ahead and subscribe to this legend. He's still making videos and stuff. Super, super dope. But I will see you guys later. I'm gonna go to bed. It is about that freaking time. Take care. Love you guys. Bis später, Leute. Ciao. Well, what a pleasure it is to see all of your beautiful faces at the end of this lovely video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sure you know, as I've mentioned in the past, we do have a Discord that's linked in the description down below, and we would love to have you a part of the world's greatest community ever, Bray Gang. Yes, if you've made it to this point in the video, you're officially a part of the community. So go ahead, join the Discord server. Link is in the description down below. And we also have other social media as well, like Instagram, Twitter. We're live. We go live on Twitch quite often as well. So it would behoove you to, go ahead and subscribe to the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/JamesBrayGang. Join the cause and be a part of the greatest, literally the greatest community ever. Okay, it's simple. Just go ahead and do those little things. We're trying to grow on all these little platforms and everything, and it really means a lot. Now, I know you guys stumbled up across the channel and you're like, what does this guy post? Like, what kind of content does he post? Reactions, vlogs, pretty much whatever comes to my mind. All right, it's random content. I don't know what I'm gonna be posting 10 years from now, but I do know that you can stick along for the journey, and it really means a lot. Now, for every single person that subscribes and follows all of the accounts that I have made, and all the links will be in the description down below, that's an automatic entry for any future giveaways I decide to have. I'll remind you when the giveaways take place, but you'll be surprised what I will be giving away because you guys have supported me so much up to this point, and it's only right that I do the same thing back. Thank you guys so much for being amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.